All right, it says we are recording. Hello, hello, everyone. Let me have a look. I feel like my camera is a little bit to the side. Hopefully, I'm centered. I'm not exactly sure, but nevertheless, welcome, everyone. I am so excited to be here with you guys tonight. It's been a minute. We celebrated the holidays with family. We got to spend some time with them, which is absolutely amazing. We battled some illness. We were contending with flu, pneumonia, and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, we're here. We're here. We made it into the new year. And for that, I am ever so grateful. I've got a lot to cover with you tonight. So I look forward to sharing as many gems as possible. I would like to know if you're here with me, give me a little thumbs up, a little heart, a little something just to make sure that we are live. We're all on this. Okay, I'm getting some thumbs up. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I so appreciate you being here. I'm going to take just 1 second to make sure we are live streaming in all the places. And I look forward to getting to as many questions as possible this evening. So, again, welcome. Let's see. How was your new year? Let me know in the chat. How was your new year? I want inquiring minds want to know. I'm going to kind of move my papers out of the way. We're working on some paperwork a little bit earlier, scanning in some things, getting caught up. But inquiring minds do want to know, how was your new year? Let me know. I'm looking for commentary. Okay, and I'm doing a mic check simultaneously. So it looks like I've got the right mic going, which is great. That's always a win. It's just a matter of making sure that we're live in all the places. So I'm going to have a quick peek. So this is for this year, my focus has been more and more on automating things, right? So hopefully you're doing the same as well with the advent and all that's going on with AI and chat gpt. We're able to really automate and build out our systems to make life a little bit easier, right? This is the year that, you know what, I believe, let it be easy. Let's make it as easy as possible. There is no reason for us to be out here fighting for our lives when we have so many resources at our fingertips. So hopefully you're taking advantage of the resources that you have handy and you're leaning into it. I used to be of the I would say of the ilk that I would review all of the reading lists and create these forever long reading lists and set these huge reading goals year after year. But here's what I discovered. What I discovered is, you know what? It's probably better to go a little bit deeper than wider, right? So that is my go to now. Instead of creating reading lists of hundreds of books, why not just focus on one really good book per quarter and just go a little bit deeper? So if you're a reader like myself, would love to know, what all are you reading these days? What's a good book to read this quarter? And I'm sure it will help someone. I'm reading a book on AI and leadership. I think that's really handy. It just gets you thinking a little bit more strategically and leveraging AI. Let me get my tissue and get my box of tissues. Leveraging AI in a little bit of a different way. Yeah, and just kind of making the most of it, right? So we're gonna get to agentic AI according to Sam Altman. That's his name. Agentic AI, meaning like AI is going to be answering phones and making phone calls on our behalf and answering emails, you know? So it's getting into that uncomfortable danger zone, right? Which is really scary. That's happening right now in 2025. And I'm not thrilled about the scariness of it all, but if it could clear out my inbox, I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna have to live with it. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna live with it. If it can, clear my inbox, organize my calendar a little bit before it comes to take me down, you know what? If you're listening, AI, don't come for me. I've been really nice. and I've said great things about you. So hopefully I'll get spared. Hopefully I'll get spared, okay? One more thing that I want to do, I want to ensure that I am actually looking at the comments. So let me see. Let's see. I've got that there. Oh, there's that little comment section. Okay, so if you guys have any comments, feel free to add your comments to the chat. I don't see that I'm live on LinkedIn yet. So, I'm going to take a look. Let's see. Am I though? I think I am. Yes, I am. I believe I am. It says 2 days ago. That's kind of weird. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, it looks like it's going. Yay! Okay, so great. It looks like I'm live on LinkedIn. All right. So, are you guys ready to get this party started? I'm going to look in one more spot. If you're not a part of the Doctors Investing in Real Estate Facebook group, guys, you're missing out. Feel free to join me in there. Let's see. Am I live in there? It doesn't appear that I'm live in there. So, let me do the thing. I believe today is the 8th. Let me give it a go. Let's see if it works. I'm going to give it a try. All right. It says that I can live video, go live. I'm working on it. I'm almost there. Go live. It's probably going to ask me for some details, which is fine. Connect to streaming software. Can I just connect with my webcam? Okay, I'm just going to connect with my webcam. I think. Let me select the right mic. Ooh. Okay, so this is actually a little bit easier than I was anticipating. Title. I'm just going to repeat the title for the subject area as well. Okay. Yeah, we're not sharing screens today. All is well. All right, save. Can we go live now? Now. What are you lacking? What are you lacking? Okay, so for those of you who are waiting on standby as I get my life together real quick, let me know in the chat. Have you started investing in real estate yet? Let me know. It's not moving forward for whatever reason. Oh, okay, so it looks good. Awesome. Go live in 3, 2, 1. I think we did it. Dear friends. Yay. Oh, it says unable to start live. Check your settings again. Seriously. Why not? Why not? It says it ended. What a bummer. Okay. Well, it is what it is. I guess it was not meant to be. But we're live in other places. So I should be content with that. With that, I am going to be grateful and content. I have my comments up and we're good to go. So let's get this party started, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our session for tonight. This is our first session for the new year. And I have a question for you. And specifically for our target audience, those that we help are typically medical professionals, doctors, dentists, pharmacists, those who are in the world of healthcare. And here's my question. Can we get real for a second? So doctors, hey doctors, come back to me if you're multitasking. Hey, docs, can we get real for a second? My question for you is, how often do you feel like you're barely keeping up? You're working crazy hours, you're making good money, but you still feel like you're on this endless treadmill? Well, I'm asking that question because I have been there too. I used to work these extra long 14-hour shifts. I would be missing family dinners. I would be asking myself, okay, is this really all that I had worked so hard for? Here's the deal. You're not alone, because most high income earners, they're caught in this never ending cycle of trading time for money. And so in this session, I don't want to bore you to pieces, but we're going to talk about time. We're going to talk about time because it is so important that we kind of set the landscape for the year. So my question for you is, what if? What if I told you that there is a better way? There's a way that you could build wealth. There's a way that you can reclaim your time. And there's a way that you could still spend time with your family, still spend time taking care of yourself, and really investing in your own self-care. And sadly, as doctors, we're trained to care for others, but what about us? What about caring for ourselves? We're also trained to be super skeptical. So I know a lot of us are super duper skeptical. And so you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, what is this that she's talking about? Like, I'm going to need some proof. I'm going to need some evidence. Well, I have got you covered. I've got you covered. During the session, I wanted to put together a high level overview, yet a clear, easy to follow step by step guide to show you exactly how doctors are breaking free from the grind. They're breaking free from the grind and they're using real estate. Okay, so if you're thinking to yourself, okay, not another get rich quick scheme, this is not what we're talking about. That you do not become an overnight success by just investing in real estate, but I want us to take back our agency. I want us to be able to understand what it is that's out there that's available to us. So this is not pie in the sky types of ideas. I want to talk to you about real, tangible strategies that busy doctors, just like you, whether you're a physician, a pharmacist, a dentist, these are strategies that they're currently using. Okay. And these strategies are helping them to create some meaningful income on the side. They're able to cut back on their work hours. I love it when a fellow doc says to me, Dr. Rachel, I'm now down to a zero 0.5 FTE or a zero 0.7 FTE. Okay. And so, what that means for those of you who may not be familiar is they're not working full time, they're not working extra overtime hours, they're not picking up these moonlight shifts anymore. They're now working a little bit less than full time or even half time, which is amazing. Okay. And the best part is, I get to speak about this just clearly and transparently because now that the year has come and gone, the numbers are in, guys. The numbers are in, and the numbers do not lie, my friend. This is not theory. This is not theory. I want to walk you through exactly the same blueprint that these doctors are using to achieve the types of numbers and the financial freedom, the freedom to say, you know what, I want a little bit more time to myself, right? So stick around because what I'm about to share with you just might change the way you think about time. It might even change the way you think about money as well. Hello, hello, and welcome back, my friends. For those of you who are just diving in, you're joining the channel, you're listening on the podcast. This is the Luxury Rental Doctor Show. Of course, I get really excited and I start coughing. I'm Dr. Rachel Gainsborough. I am your doctor, BFF turned real estate investor. I help busy medical professionals like you build wealth. We build wealth without burning you out. Okay. So you might have heard about me because one of our luxury midterm rental properties, and we'll define the two momentarily, one of our midterm rentals was featured on Netflix. But my biggest passion, what I'm passionate about, is not about TV. I never trained for that. I'm passionate about sharing everything that I've learned with busy doctors just like you, especially my fellow women in medicine who are juggling it all. You've got the demanding career, you've got the family, you are most likely in that sandwich generation where you're taking care of elderly parents and simultaneously you're taking care of children. So I want to figure out a way to impart upon you that pocket of rest to get you out of that day to day and constant grind. Okay. So today we're talking all about this game changing real estate strategy designed specifically for doctors. So if you are tired of picking up extra shifts, if you're tired of losing out on precious family time, and if you're tired of watching your income get eaten up by taxes, this episode is for you. I'm going to show you how having one or two really well positioned and smartly selected properties can make more income for you than five regular meh or even 10 regular meh rentals, right? So it is all about working smarter and not harder. And most of our members are working just an extra 4 hours a week on their rental portfolio. Okay. So this is just something I'm super passionate about. This is a freedom plan, really. It's changed hundreds of doctors' lives. So stick with me because this could be the new fresh start that you have been looking for. Okay. So we're going to talk about a few growth levers. Growth lever number one, I want to talk about the hidden truth about wealth when it comes for doctors, whether, again, you're a physician, you're a pharmacist, you're a dentist. What is this hidden truth about doctors' wealth? Let's first address the elephant in the room. Okay. The elephant in the room is okay, Dr. Rachel, all the stuff you said so far sounds interesting, but if it was so effective, if it was true, why isn't every doctor doing it already? Why aren't they investing in just one or two properties? Why are they giving their money to a what is called a multi-family syndication and handing over their cold hard cash to invest, say, in a crowdfunding type of situation? Why are they giving their money to a financial advisor to invest on their behalf? Why aren't they just doing this one to two door strategy that you're talking about? Why not? Well, the answer to that might actually surprise you. The answer, it's not because it doesn't work. It's not because it doesn't work. I assure you, like I said, the numbers aren't lying and the numbers look good. And follow this channel, subscribe, stick here with me because over the next few sessions, I'm going to be breaking down in granular detail the exact case studies. We'll talk about some today, but I want to share screens with you, the case studies from end to end as to exactly what transpired for our doctors who are making an extra $4,500, $7,500, $8,500 a month with just one or two properties. So I want to break that down for you. Okay. So going back, the answer isn't because it doesn't work. The answer is because most doctors don't even know about it. You don't know it exists. The strategy, my tutor strategy, most doctors don't even know that it exists. When you're at the hospital in the break room, they're talking about let's all buy a big apartment together. That's the only way you can save on taxes. That's not true. That's not the only way. That's not the only way. And I want you to think about your journey through medicine, right? You spent countless hours memorizing your anatomical structures, memorizing your surgical techniques. You want to master that. You're memorizing these protocols, or you're leveraging the cheat sheet for the protocols. You're memorizing your diagnosis. You're going to rule things out, your algorithms. But how many hours did anyone teach you about building wealth? Right? How many hours did you learn about how to do the business of medicine, for instance? This is not what we're talking about, but I'm just going to put it out there. Did they teach you about how to make money? They just assumed you're going to make enough money, right? How many hours did they spend teaching you how to stop working for your dollars, stop exchanging your hours for dollars, right? Zero. Zero. No one has really taught us how to make our money work harder for us. I want my money working just as hard, if not harder, for me, right? So we need to turn things around, and the system, our education is really designed to keep us focused on our clinical excellence. And I get it, rightfully so. We have lives in our hands, we're out here saving lives. But the big focus on this one clinical excellence pillar essentially has created a crazy, massive blind spot when it comes to financial intelligence. So, this is not your fault. It is a huge gap in medical education. Okay. And no one's talking about it. Guys, I graduated with $500,000 in student loan debt. $500,000 in student loan debt. And I have no one to blame but myself, right? I should have had some financial literacy, but being born in Haiti and raised in the urban center of Miami, there was no finances in my household to literate upon. So my parents didn't really teach me much about financial literacy. There was no finances. We just were hand to mouth for the most part. And so when I work with someone from my similar background, like Dr. E, she was 8 months pregnant. She was managing her demanding schedule as a hospitalist. She herself thought that, okay, real estate was completely out of reach, like many of you. She was worried about the startup costs. She was worried about managing her time. She had a lot of on call shifts. And so it's a huge, huge learning curve, or so she thought. But she took one calculated step, guys. She took one step and she launched a midterm rental, and she targeted to families who were displaced from their home due to a disaster. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. If you turn on the news, just turn on the news, you're going to see there are fires in California, there are snowstorms in the Northeast, there are floods that are happening. Right now, I have a government contract in hand. I'm looking for 600 properties that are furnished. FEMA needs these in the Florida region, right? So, this is something that is very, very prevalent. It's happening everywhere. Most of the guests that we host using this particular strategy, they're not really impacted by the national, or not the national, the natural disasters. They're more so impacted by the accidental disasters, like a water pipe that bursts, and it happens quite a bit. Okay, it happens quite a bit. So one out of 20 households have a water pipe that bursts every year. According to Scientific American, 6 million Americans were displaced from their home due to some type of disaster in 2023. 6 million Americans were displaced from their home. And so, this strategy that I'm talking about, that no one else is talking about really, that is in such alignment with our busy medical professionals, is this midterm rental strategy. And we're targeting working with the insurance companies and helping these displaced families, these families who are going through some of the toughest times of their lives. And so, this is who Dr. Esther was able to set up her property, and this is who she was able to serve. Now, her first booking, her very first booking, brought her in $7,500 per month. And they had initially booked for 3 months. However, they kept extending because it takes time. I don't know about you, but I had like a minor repair in one of our properties, and it took 3 months just for the part to come in. So with the supply chain issues, or my contractor ghosting me for a little bit, that part too, it's going to take some time. So, let alone fire damage, it's going to take a very long time. So, typically, we see water damage takes about 6 months to repair, depending on the extent of that water damage. Fire damage can be 13 months, guys. 13 months. So that booking brought in $7,500 a month. Initially, she was booked for 3 months. They extended another 3 months, and it was water damage. And not only was she able to cover her mortgage of $2,500 a month, but she had some extra cash on the side. And so, really excited for her. To me, the most interesting part is she was able to achieve this while working less hours. So, when you are hosting this type of family or this type of guest avatar, we call them guest avatars, or this guest profile or guest persona, they are families who have homes right there in town. They just need a comfortable, cozy home that is near their kids' school, a great place for them to stay while their home is being repaired. So they're absolutely amazing guests. They're my absolute favorite guests. At the end of the day, guys, the timing was perfect. She had just purchased a property. We had identified this particular market. She had just purchased the property, and she was in that period when you purchase a home, it usually takes 30 days to close on that property. So she was in that waiting period in between. And during the waiting period, one of the secret sauce, and I'm going to share this gem with all of you, there's no gatekeeping with me. One of the secret sauces is to do what I call pre-market the property, meaning we're just going to put the property out there, get some feelers out there, while we're in that limbo period, we're waiting to close on the property. All the paperwork is happening. The lenders are communicating with the underwriters and so on and so forth. And she was able to get that booking during that period. And once she closed, she was ready. She was able to hit the ground running. Okay. So for those of you who are right now, you're on the fence, you're thinking, okay, lucky her. It wasn't luck, guys. It wasn't luck. It was Dr. Esther actually taking the time to take action, right? Say, you know what? I don't love the interest rates. I don't love, the purchase prices right now. I don't love the fact that I put in 3 offers and others have outbidded me. She got outbidded so many times. There are folks playing all kinds of reindeer games with her. She didn't love that, but she trusted the process. She moved on. She moved on. She moved on. And she's not alone, guys. We have dozens of other doctors in our community across the country that are using the same exact strategies to build wealth, meaningful wealth, significant wealth outside of their clinical practice. Okay. All right. So I just want to take a moment and allow everyone to dive in. I'm going to take a breather, take a little sip of water. Let me know what questions you have for me. Have you heard of this strategy before? Let me know in the chat. Have you heard of this midterm rental strategy before I move on to the next concept? And as you can tell, I'm taking it slow. 2025, guys, is my year of just taking it slow. I want to make things as easy, as granular as possible, right? We're not going to fight for our lives. We're going to actually take it slow. We're going to let it be easy. This is my year of being unbothered. I feel like I worked hard enough, right? This is my year of being unbothered. This is my year of reaping the benefits of all of the hard work that we have put in. It's almost like, you plant the seeds and now we're looking for the harvest, so that is the goal. All right, so let's see. All right, without further ado, I'm gonna check on one more platform. I gave up on I think I gave up on Facebook. I don't know that I'm live on Facebook. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Sometimes stuff gets hidden from me. I don't know why. Stuff gets hidden from me. So if you're asking questions right now and I'm not answering you, I promise you from the bottom of my heart, I am not ignoring you. For some reason, while I'm live, the platform kind of hides everything from me. And then later on, I see like 35 questions, like, oh my gosh. So if that is you, I assure you, I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that we answer your questions. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the overtime paradox. This is something I call the overtime paradox, and it's a trap. It is a trap that catches even some of the brightest doctors that I know. So you think, okay, if I just pick up one more extra shift, I'll be able to save an extra few bucks. But here's the problem. Your time, my friend, is finite and your energy is even more so. And so What happens if your kid has a cello recital that you need to make it to, and then you picked up some extra shift? What happens if you need that much needed vacation, that pocket of rest? What happens if someone gets sick? I remember wanting to cut back because my little one had really bad asthma, and I was really the only one I trusted in my household to make sure that we could remediate it, right? So what happens if you have a loved one who has health issues, or even worse? Well, maybe not worse, but kind of. What happens if you have health issues, right? You have health issues and now you're forced to reduce your hours. So the traditional model, guys, for trading time for money, even at this higher compensation level, is just flawed. It's flawed fundamentally. I believe that. So this is where the power of real estate comes in. Now, I'm not talking to you about long term landlording or any of that traditional stuff, any fix and flip projects that is going to demand even more of your time. We're talking about time, guys. We got to think about our time this year. How are we going to expend our time? And what is that 80/20? What is the 20% that we can do with our time that can move mountains, move 80% of the mountain, right? So let's be really strategic with our investments. Let's be really strategic of all of the ways we're generating income, because I want you to wake up in the morning every single day. You get some type of an alert that money is coming in. I want to see you generating income every single day. And we're able to do that. And our members are able to do that through our investments. So whether we're in the OR, whether we're in the pharmacy, whether we're in the dental office, whether we are sleeping, whether we're on vacation or enjoying life, there's something sweet about getting bookings and getting our payouts while we're on vacation. Like that just that is mind blowing to me. That is mind blowing to me. So, Dr. G in our community, she is a great example of this. She's a OBGYN. She has a just massively unpredictable call schedules. And she was like really hesitant initially. She says, you know what, I can't handle another thing on my plate, right? She already was committed up to her eyeballs. And so she said, but I have to do something. I have to do something. So she took a plunge. She launched her very first rental property in Texas. She was focused on a model we call the hybrid model. It's like a half and half, short term rental, mid-term rental model. And guess what? Now she earns an extra $9,600 a month from this single property. And the good news is it's not just the money that's coming in. Yeah, an extra 9,600 is amazing, but she is down to point 0.2 FTE. She has cut back on her shifts significantly. She actually is bringing in more money from her job because she took advantage of some massive tax strategies that are out there. She's taking vacations with her family, and she's finally feeling like, you know what, she has achieved that work life harmony that she had always dreamed of. And it took getting started with one rental property. Okay. All right. So let me take a little breather. Let's see if we have any questions coming in. Hi, Laura. Hey, girl. Hey. It is so good to see you. Goodness gracious. I love it. Okay, let's see. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. 2025, guys. Can you believe it? We are here. All right, so let's talk about growth lever number two. Growth lever number two is all about the science of real estate. Okay, so as doctors, we're trained to rely on evidence based practices. Okay, we don't make rash decisions, we don't make decisions based on hunches. We want that peer reviewed, double blind, study with the largest possible data set, and so on and so forth. So we make our decisions based on actual proven pieces of data, no unproven theories. And so this is exactly why I love this strategy, because we have cold hard data. The data is in, and it shows us, the winners or the losers. I'm gonna call it like I see it. It shows us the winners or the losers. So keep your eyes peeled. I have been downloading a considerable amount of data to publish for our 75 gems, the top 75 cities with highest profitability for short term rentals. So by the time this episode airs, feel free to go to 75gems.com. That's 75gems.com. You will have access to our latest and greatest data points, which I think is just so important because that's how we approach the science of real estate, honestly. So, as medical professionals, we want to make sure that we understand, we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. So, let's examine some peer reviewed stories. So, Dr. P is a psychiatrist out of Texas. She was able to leverage these strategies and sheltered, literally, she just messaged me. She was able to shelter $200,000 in her W 2 income. Okay, $200,000 off of her W 2 income. And so don't come for me with, oh, that's tax evasion. No, it is not. It is all about understanding the code and using that same code that all of the major real estate developers are using, but she was able to use it on one single property. Dr. Heather, she's another doc. She took a little bit of a different approach. She invested in Panama City. She found an undervalued property with strong potential, and she was able to build a great team of a cleaner, a handyman, and a VA to support her. She built her automated systems. A lot of the business that we leverage, we are automating our guest communication. It's one of those things, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that says, um, if he was given an axe, he'll spend like hours sharpening the axe before he starts cutting the tree, something like that. I forget the terminology. So, setting up that automation from the get go is sharpening the axe. You can do it yourself or you can hire someone to do it for you. But she's managing this property remotely out of state and is generating her some consistent income with minimal time investment. So, this is what I'm talking about. Dr. Katie. Now, Dr. Katie, she blew me away. When I first met Dr. K, she had 3 kids under 5 years old. Mother's Day, she launched 3 properties, one for each child. She's out of California. These properties are based out of Oklahoma, 2 in Oklahoma, and one is in Tennessee. And she's legit making $420,000 every single year from these 3 rentals. Okay. So, this is what I'm wanting you to understand. These are not one off situations. These doctors, Dr. K, she's actually a doctor of pharmacy. So, these are not outliers. These are simply individuals who took a bet on themselves and said, you know what, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to follow this replicatable system that is laid bare before me for the taking. And this is exactly what I wanted to tee up for you here. And I'll share a little bit more about this system towards the end. Okay. So, for those of you who are thinking to yourself, okay, Rachel, I love everything that you're saying. Some of these people sound kind of busy, maybe not. But for me, really, I don't have the time. I know. That is the number one objection that I hear from everyone. I don't have the time. I hear this from our docs every single day. Here's the deal. When it comes to real estate investing, when it comes to your clinical duties, when it comes to your admin work, you're trying to manage it all. Oh, and never mind trying to go out to the gym to work out. I have that on my goals for this year to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and lifting heavy. That's the new fad, right? We all have to lift heavy now that we're women of a certain age. So how in the world are you gonna find the 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours to manage some extra properties? Okay, so this is exactly where we in our community, we use automations and tools like AI and just one handy VA support person every now and then to support our business. So let me break it down. So first, we want to implement the cutting edge automation tools that are already out there that are handling everything. So when it comes to guest communication, when it comes to calendar maintenance, when it comes to deconflicting your calendars and communicating with your cleaners, there is a tool out there that does all of that. And that category of tool is called a channel manager, or sometimes it's called a PMS, which is a property management software. Those tools, they have so much built into them, and the goal is to make sure that they're managing your bookings and managing your maintenance schedules and so on and so forth. So this is like they're available 24 hours. You can similar to in a protocol. If you have some canned responses that you build into a protocol, you build your canned responses in there. Let the guests know your hours of operations. If it's after 11 p.m., you will get back to them in the morning if it's something that's urgent, and so on and so forth. Okay, so having these systems built out from the get go requires that additional hour or so that you want to get like put your attention to it, but then it pays you dividends on the back end. The second important tool in our tool chest, so we have our technology resources, but then we need our human resources. So we want to build a reliable local team to help us out. Say it's just one cleaner or two cleaners. Say it's one maintenance man or two maintenance men. They become your eyes and ears. They are your boots on the ground. Okay. So a lot of people, they run towards property managers that are eating up percentages of your revenue that's coming in. I don't advise that, honestly, especially with the tax laws that are in legislation. They promote you managing yourself. So if you can leverage managing, piggybacking with your partner or spouse until you have crossed into the new year, that's great. If you can add a virtual assistant, we have a global talent virtual assistant that we use to help us out in the in between times. That's great. Property managers, I think those are, you know, roles of a last resort. I'd rather use a co-host and a as opposed to a property manager. Okay, so that's going to eat away at your margins, and we need all the margins that we can get. And again, do not sleep on the cleaners. The cleanings are so important. They will make or break your business. Okay. So our cleaners are so important to us. We treat them very well. We see them as strategic partners in our business. And so having someone there on the ground is a big game changer. They're handling kind of the day to day operations, and they're just a text message or a phone call away. And for us, since we may have some trust issues, I'll put it out there. I do have trust issues. I will onboard two cleaners simultaneously to make sure that all of our operations are covered. Okay, really, really important. Now, Dr. Mason, he is a pharmacist out of Boise, Idaho. Shout out to Dr. Mason. Now, he has experienced the power of really building out his system. So we have our standard operating procedures, just like you would have a protocol. If this, then that, right? If then types of statements. So once he installed our SOPs into his business, he found it to be extremely effective. It really transformed his entire mindset. He felt confident he was able to take a property that he was considering using as a traditional long term rental. And a long term rental is typically your unfurnished property that you will rent out for the entire year. So he took our systems, he built it in, and he was able to leverage the property as a midterm rental, and now he's earning an extra 37.42 per month after all of his expenses are paid. And that's great. It's a two-bedroom property in Boise, Idaho, and the best part is he spends less than 4 hours a month overseeing all of the operations because it's midterm rentals. These guests are just, they're very low key. They're Just super grateful. They're kind. Just we've had some of the best guests. Not everyone's perfect, of course, so don't come at me if you're like, well, I just had the worst midterm rental guests. But for the most part, they're absolutely amazing guests. Okay. So this is what it looks like, guys. That is less time than most of our docs are spending, doing their paperwork and charting every single day, right? So really, really important. So when it comes to the specific strategies, so I've given you some case studies. I want to talk about our specific strategies. So our two strategies that we love the absolute most are the short-term rental strategy to start off, because again, there are laws and legislation that allows us to take some massive tax savings, and we want to take advantage of that, right? Taxes are going to be the thing that helps us usher in some of the biggest wealth transfer that we will see in our lifetime. So taking advantage of those tax loopholes are huge for us. Okay. So let's talk about the short-term rentals. Short-term rentals are kind of like Airbnbs. They're properties that you would typically furnish. You buy a property, you furnish it, or you lease a property out and you furnish it. Okay. So it's a furnished property that you leverage and you place it on a variety of platforms like Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. And these guests are staying with you anywhere from 2 nights to 28 nights. So that is a short term rental. A long term rental is probably our most familiar asset class. It's, you have an unfurnished property and folks are renting those out for a year, right? So totally unfurnished, they move in, they're renting out for a year, 2 years, 3 years, et cetera, et cetera. That is a long-term rental. And a midterm rental is kind of that sweet spot in the middle. It is a furnished property or an unfurnished property. We prefer furnished, that folks are renting out month to month. Okay. So for a midterm rental, that's our absolute favorite. We start off with a short term rental for the tax strategy, then we convert to the midterm rental. So I call that my depreciation double dip. So once we got our taxes together, the next calendar year, we're going to convert it to a midterm rental. And so Dr. Jolie, she's a infectious disease physician out of the Chicago area. She actually discovered this particular strategy as well. And I remember her saying, trust the process. She wanted her property to be rented out as a midterm rental. She had been using it for short term rental, but it was time to do that switch. And so, in order to do the switch, she got a little bit nervous because my recommendation is to adjust your calendar in such a way that you have visibility. And so, you have to have nerves of steel. She adjusted her calendar. She was scared because she's like, I really need the bookings to come in short term or midterm, what have you. She preferred midterm, but she just didn't think she could pull it off. And so once she adjusted her calendar, 3 days later, she got a booking. The money was wired. It was a water pipe that had burst. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happens in the super duper cold areas. If you don't drip your water or do the weatherproofing, the water pipes can burst and then it leads to mold issues. It's quite devastating to a property if a water pipe has burst and it's not addressed or remediated in a timely manner. And so sadly, that's what had occurred, but she was ready. She was here to help. She understood the specific needs of the midterm rental guests. She opened up her calendar and she got that booking and she was able to quickly execute upon it. So in our Facebook group, her comment was trust the process, because she was really nervous about the process. So our doctors mastering real estate investing Facebook group, that's where she commented on there. So I was really appreciated. Now Mike Stone, Mike is kind of my outlier. Mike is not a physician, he's an attorney out of the Arizona market. So he took a little bit of a innovative approach. It was a different approach. He actually focused on one of my favorite asset classes, is a luxury type of asset class. There was a family from Manhattan who summer in Scottsdale or vice versa. I forget the time of year. So when they got to their Scottsdale home, they hadn't been there for 6 months. The home was like an indoor swimming pool. Whatever happened, it was completely flooded. Okay, so imagine you have your Manhattan home and you come to your Scottsdale home thinking you're going to have the time of your life. You're here to summer or winter, I don't remember, but you're here for, to live that um the next 3 to 6 months in your home, and you find that the home is completely flooded. And so when they reached out to him, the temporary housing agency, the agency that works with the insurance companies, the middlemen, when they reached out to him, they had asked him for an 8 bedroom home. Well, he didn't have an 8 bedroom home in his portfolio. He had like a 3 bedroom or at the most a 4 bedroom, but not an 8 bedroom. But he did not want that deal to go by the wayside. He wanted to help them figure out how to execute on the deal. Him being an attorney and all, he had drawn up a contract saying, hey, I will help you find a property that meets your needs. I would just accept the finder's fee. And that's exactly what he did. Their budget was just astronomical. I don't even want to repeat it here. It's just nuts. Okay, let's just say it was nuts. So let's move on because these are not the when he sent me the check, I couldn't believe how large that check was on a month-to-month basis. So not even relatively reasonable. Okay, so Dr. Sarah inside of our community, she's a gastroenterologist. She actually has larger homes, and I talk about having a little bit of a larger home because at the end of the day, you want to stand out from the crowd. When the homeowners insurance they reach out to the temporary housing agents, the homeowners insurance reaches out to the temporary housing agency to help find a home for a family. The temporary housing agency, that middleman that I spoke about a little bit earlier, they already have relationships and deep relationships with apartment complexes that have studios, that have 1 bedrooms, that have 2 bedrooms, and so on and so forth. And so, if we are launching a property in a particular market, and if you're multitasking, come back to me. I'm about to spill some tea. I would prefer that you would go a little bit larger when you're looking for a property. So, look at 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and so on and so forth, because now you're not competing with um, the large multifamily apartments, right? You're not competing with them, right? So I'd rather you go a little bit larger because if they're looking for a 3 bedroom or a 4 bedroom, you're the only game in town, which is great. But if they're looking for a 1 bedroom or a studio, guess what? You're competing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other properties. So I don't want that for you, my friend. Okay. I'm feeling like I'm off centered a little bit. But nevertheless, okay. So all this to say, go a little bit larger if you can. If you can swing it, go. Don't be afraid to go a little bit larger. Just run your numbers to make sure it makes sense. Well, she went a little bit larger, and when she put out the inquiry to the insurance companies, they loved her property. They were able to rent out her property, and they also reached out and asked her if she had some smaller properties because if you're in a market where the vacancy is really low and there's not a lot available, you will still do well, and you'll be able to leverage that smaller property. Tony, he is one of the members of our community. He's a technician. He had a 2 bedroom in Long Beach, California, and it was a condo on the second floor. It was an elderly couple. I don't like stairs because of the elderly, but nevertheless, he had an elevator. So we're always thinking about how can we serve the underserved, really? So the elderly, the special needs kiddos, we want, or family members, it could be special needs adults, those with mobility limitations, those who are traveling with pets. So these are some of the avatars we love to serve because at the end of the day, a lot of the other hosts, they just don't want to deal with it. They haven't thought about it. They think it's too much of a lift. But I'm going to be honest with you, my kids ruin stuff worse than our pets do. But that's a story for another day. I'm sure there's a story where someone says, well, there's this one pet that completely destroyed my place. It can happen, totally can happen. But Most of the time, it's kids, not necessarily the pets, right? And so at the end of the day, Tony was having issues getting his property booked. We made a few strategic changes to his listing. And within 3 days, he got a really nice booking that exceeded his overhead, 2x his overhead. And I truly believe it was for all, it was the power of having this property furnished, positioning it really well. And even though it was a family who's displaced from their home that had water pipe burst, another water damage situation. They found the property on Airbnb, so you can actually leverage Airbnb as a platform to list your property and still attract these insurance company guests, which is awesome. Okay. All right. So let's have a look. Okay. So actually, I want to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to take a look one more time to see about our Q&A. All right. So again, if you are dropping questions in the Q&A, I am not deliberately ignoring your questions. I'm just hoping and praying and fighting for my life that the technology issues do not completely derail us and shut down on us. It already shut down in some spaces, but nevertheless, so at the end of the day, guys, I really believe it's important to be strategic because when I am looking for a common thread amongst all of these great success stories, as well as a common thread amongst those who are struggling right now, the commonality is strategic market selection, selecting the right market, strategic systems implementation, like how you're running your business, that really matters, right? And focusing on your specific niches. Okay, so for me, my number one niche are the insurance families that I mentioned to you a little bit earlier. In my vacation rental markets, my niches are families who are traveling 3 to 4 generations deep. I love those families because I'm counting about 8 full-time W-2 earning paying adults in those situations, which I love. Um, yeah, so we have to buy the property the right way. We have to manage it the right way, and we have to understand who it is that we are serving. Okay, so that makes those are the common threads. Those are the things that I've seen that have made the biggest difference in terms of the winners as well as the losers. Okay, so would love to invite you all to a masterclass that breaks down these strategies even further, that shows you exactly how to replicate some of these stories in markets that could be your very own market where you're living. If your market is cost prohibitive, it could be the market next door or the market just 1 or 2 states away. It's very, very doable. I've been analyzing quite a few markets and I cannot wait to share with you all of our findings. So at the end of the day, let's just talk about what financial freedom really means for doctors. Okay, I hate that I just hit my mic. At the end of the day, it's really, to me, it's not about just leaving medicine altogether, right? That's not, we didn't go into medicine so that we can leave medicine. I was really disheartened and disappointed when I was speaking with the doc this morning. And she said she was in the middle of a surgery, and all of a sudden, the insurance company calls her out and says, "Hey, I need to speak with you about this surgery." So she has to scrub out, go and speak with the insurance company. And this was a breast cancer surgery. And so when they asked about something in particular, and she says, "Well, this was already approved because she has breast cancer." And the insurer said something to the effect of, "Well, that's not my department." So it's getting a little bit chaotic out here. I'm not saying for people to leave medicine, but it just makes you wonder, right? It just makes you wonder. So at the end of the day, again, it's not necessarily leaving medicine early unless you really want to. At the end of the day, it's about having choices. It's about practicing medicine because you want to, not because you have to. Okay. So Dr. Katie, inside of our community, after she had built out her portfolio, she took a sabbatical for 2 months just to like kind of recenter herself and refocus on her own self-care This was not career ending in any shape or form. She's able to get back when she was ready, but her 2 month sabbatical was fully funded by her rental income. And so this is the thing for me. When I prefaced this, I said we're going to talk about time. I want you to think about your time. I want you to get to choose what your ideal work schedule is without you having to worry about the financial impact. I want you to get to choose to have an extended vacation if you want to without having to worry about your bank account. I want you to get to invest in yourself, your self development, or extra equipment, whatever you want without the added stress. I want you to build that legacy to provide for your family for generations, right? So, what would that extra income per month do for you? And this isn't a hypothetical question. This is the reality that members of our community are seeing through the systems. Okay. All right. So in our masterclass, guys, if you go to shorttermgems.com/MTR, we will link it in the show notes and we will link it below. I'm going to share with you the complete blueprint for building this small but mighty real estate portfolio of your dreams. We're going to cover market analysis, how to identify those profitable markets with the profitable growth with those returns that we're talking about. Even if you have to look out of state, expand your horizons. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about property selection. What are the criteria that we use to select one property versus the other? I'm going to go step by step to walk you through some of the automation and management tools that we use. I'm going to walk you through my favorite tax optimization strategies, as well as what we do to mitigate our risk. Okay. Again, this is not just theory, this is what we do day in and day out. I hope to see you there. Feel free to go to the link below, shorttermgems.com/MTR, and feel free to join our one property profit strategy for doctors masterclass. Uh, there are 3 dates that you can choose from. You select the date that resonates the most for you. It is the same exact training for all 3 days. You just pick one that works for you. There are no replays, so we want you to be there in the flesh to get the work done. We are getting the work done live. This is not one of those things where it is a recording or anything. I will be in the room with you live, answering every single one of your questions. And so my heart goes out to women doctors, women pharmacists, women dentists who are trying to do it all, looking for a way to supplement their income, save a bit on taxes. Sometimes it's not how much you make, it's how much you get to keep, right? And I think you could have it all without having to sacrifice any more of your precious time. And so that is the purpose of me hosting this training. I really hope you can get there. I look forward to seeing you there. I truly believe just 1 or 2 properties, managing those over the course of 3 to 4 hours a week without the added pressure to add on more and more properties. Those of you who are thinking, oh, I need 10 properties, I need 20 properties, that is not the vibe. That is not the vibe at all. Okay. So, a lot of my bro real estate investors, they say, okay, Rachel's portfolio is smaller but mightier than ours. It's because I'm very strategic and I focus on the hospitality side. Okay. And we'll also give you a free implementation workbook to go with it. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. Okay. So, I think that's it. Let me see if we have any questions at all. 1 second. I am pulling it up. One moment. Let's see. Okay, I see one. Oh, I feel like I'm going to butcher your name. It's Anne Marie. Hi, Anne Marie. Hello there, friend. Let me see if I can pop this question up. Can I make it pop up? I don't know how to do it anymore. I used to know how to pop the question up. Okay, so Anne Marie says, what are your thoughts with purchasing an investment out of state? We live in California and we feel like we can get more for our money out of state. I have a 1031 exchange to work with. Oh, timing is of the essence, my friend. Absolutely. And I'm going to throw that up there. There you go, Anne Marie. Yes, absolutely. I highly recommend you looking out of state for purchasing if you're in a state where it's cost prohibitive. So we have docs who are in California, docs who are in Hawaii, right? Oftentimes they have to practice out of state. They have practice. They have to purchase out of state. I am all for it, 100%. Yes. Take a look at what your goals are based on your budget that you're going for is going to be really important. That's going to help you determine what is your next best move. And yeah, so join me on the masterclass. I would love to dive a little bit deeper with you on that and see what markets are available to you. Let's see. Okay. All right. I see a few more questions. Okay, that one was covered already. All right. So I think that's it, guys. I think that is it. At the end of the day, guys, the only difference between you, where you are now, and where you want to be is just the decision, right? You make a decision today, and 2025 is going to be drastically different from you. So the doctors who I mentioned a little bit earlier, they all started exactly where you're now. Overwhelmed, a little bit skeptical, but it's a tiny glimmer of hope that there's got to be a better way. So eventually they took action. They followed a system, followed a protocol, just like an algorithm, right? And that completely transformed their life. So it is your turn, my friend, to take that step towards your path of financial freedom. And I look forward to taking it with you. So remember, every day that you wait is another day that you're stuck with the old system. It's another day that you're exchanging your time for money. It's another day of missing out on that financial freedom, that financial security that you deserve. So make today the day that you choose a different path. Oh, you're so welcome, Anne Marie. And I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Goodness gracious. I don't like pronouncing people's name incorrectly. Yeah. So yeah, make today the day, guys. Choose that different path. Join us for the masterclass and let's begin this journey for your financial independence. I love you all to the moon and back. Thank you so much for joining, for being as attentive as possible. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, feel free to tap into our Facebook group. I will be in there answering all the questions. If you're listening on YouTube, I'll grab the questions there. If you're listening on LinkedIn, I will answer your questions there as well. Again, love you all to the moon and back, and let's make 2025 our best year yet. Bye bye for now.